Premonition of Power unveils the ancient wisdom that destiny speaks first in whispers. These subtle signs and synchronicities are not chance. They are the universe preparing you for transformation. Open your heart and hear the quiet signals that have always been guiding you. Premonition of Power. Introduction. The quiet murmur of destiny that calls to you is no accident. It is a sacred script woven into the hidden fabric of your everyday. When you harmonize with the subtle music of the universe, these signs emerge like dawn's first light, revealing patterns of synchronicity too precise to be mere chance. The law of attraction moves in unseen currents, yet its deepest magic begins long before any dream takes form. As a gardener tends the soil before the seed, so must your consciousness be readied to receive the abundance waiting to bloom. This preparation awakens as a silent knowing, an inner certainty that transcends the boundaries of reason. You have already felt its touch, the magnetic pull towards certain choices, the echoes of a dream that will not fade, the seemingly fated meetings that alter your course. These are not random events. They are the universe's gentle summons, heralding a transformation that approaches even before your mind can name it. Each synchronicity is a lantern, casting light upon the path you were born to walk. The premonition of power stirs within you now. It speaks through sudden sparks of inspiration, through the quiet urging that steers you toward or away from unseen turns, through the dreams that linger in the soft hours of morning. These are not fleeting emotions. They are your sacred inheritance, the language of the soul in conversation with the infinite intelligence that shapes all creation. As you journey through these words, you will learn to attune to these celestial frequencies, to trust the guidance that has always been with you, waiting to be heard. The universe leaves no seeker unprepared for its gifts. Your arrival here is no accident. It is itself a sign, a silent proof that you are ready to awaken to the grand design that has been unfolding in your favor since the beginning. This wisdom is not new. It has traveled through the ages, guarded by those who knew that real power is never seized by force, but received in perfect harmony with the eternal flow of universal truth. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. Awakening the Signal. Chapter 1. The Whisper Before the Gift. The eternal dance between intention and manifestation begins not with dramatic revelation, but with the softest stirring in your heart. Like the first light before dawn, these whispers emerge from the quiet depths of your being, carrying messages from the infinite wisdom of the universe. Through the ages, those who have mastered the art of co-creation with universal forces understand that every significant transformation announces itself through subtle signals. These are not the thunderous proclamations that shake mountains, but rather the gentle nudges that persist in the stillness of your mind. When you quiet the clamor of daily life, you begin to perceive these divine murmurs. They may appear as recurring thoughts, inexplicable feelings of certainty, or a knowing that transcends logic. The universe speaks first in whispers, for it is in softness that the deepest truths are conveyed. The resistance you feel to certain paths, the unexpected joy that wells up when contemplating others, these are not random emotional fluctuations. They are the language of the infinite, guiding you toward your highest alignment. What appears as delay or disappointment often reveals itself as divine timing, placing you precisely where you need to be for your destiny to unfold. These premonitions of power do not demand grand gestures or dramatic actions. They ask only for your attention, your willingness to acknowledge their presence. In the space between thought and action, between dream and manifestation, lies a sacred dialogue between you and the universe. This dialogue begins with listening. The more you attune yourself to these subtle frequencies, the clearer they become. Like a muscle strengthening with use, your ability to recognize and trust these signals grows stronger with each acknowledgement. The universe has already placed within you an inner compass that points toward your highest good. Ancient practice. As the day draws to a close, find a quiet moment for yourself. Place your hand over your heart and speak these words with gentle conviction. The whisper is real. I am listening. Let this simple ritual be your daily remembrance that the universe communicates through the voice of your intuition. Chapter 2. The Frequency of Readiness. Within the boundless tapestry of existence, you possess an innate power to shape reality through the alchemy of emotion. This truth unveils itself through the tale of Mabel, a weaver in a mountain village, who discovered that her loom created patterns only when her heart sang the same melody as her hands. Day after day, Mabel would sit before her loom, mechanically threading desires into the fabric of her work. Yet the patterns remained lifeless, lacking the vibrancy she envisioned. It wasn't until she learned to immerse herself in the joy of creation, to feel the textures, to dance with the colors, to breathe life into every thread, that her tapestries began to shimmer with an otherworldly light. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you embody. Your emotions are the sacred language through which you communicate with the infinite. When your feelings align with your aspirations, you become a living magnet for their manifestation. Consider Frederick, a merchant who traveled far and wide seeking prosperity. He collected maps, studied trade routes, and endlessly planned his fortune. Yet abundance eluded him until he realized a fundamental truth. He was seeking what he should have been being. Only when Frederick began carrying himself with the dignity of prosperity, making decisions from a place of abundance rather than lack, did his circumstances transform. These ancient teachings reveal that readiness is not a state of waiting. It is a frequency of being. To attract what you desire, you must first become its living embodiment. The universe does not respond to your words or actions alone, but to the vibrational signature you emit through your emotional state. The visualization of being. Practice. As the first light touches the horizon each morning, create a sacred moment of communion with your desired reality. Close your eyes and for 2 minutes step fully into the life you seek to create. Feel the warmth of accomplishment in your chest, the lightness of joy in your spirit, the solid ground of certainty beneath your feet. Breathe as though your desires have already manifested. Let every cell of your body resonate with the emotion of fulfillment. This is not an exercise in imagination. It is a practice of becoming, of aligning your frequency with the reality you wish to attract. Chapter 3. The Tug of Synchronicity. In the quiet hours before dawn, a merchant named Pearl counted her inventory, marking each item in her ledger. As she worked, she noticed the number 717 appearing repeatedly, on receipts, in transactions, even in the time when she glanced at her clock. At first, she dismissed these occurrences as mere coincidence, until the morning when a stranger entered her shop precisely at 7:17, bringing an opportunity that would transform her life. The universe speaks in patterns, weaving a tapestry of meaning through the seemingly random events of your daily existence. These synchronicities are not chance. They are the cosmic language through which the universe guides your path. When you attune yourself to this sacred dialogue, you begin to recognize that every repeated number, every recurring phrase, and every chance encounter carries a message meant specifically for you. The power of synchronicity reveals itself not in single instances, but in the intricate dance of multiple occurrences. Just as waves in the ocean follow patterns that sailors learn to read, the universe creates rhythms in your life that, once recognized, illuminate the way forward. These patterns serve as markers, confirming you walk in alignment with your highest path. Consider Norman, a businessman who missed his morning train despite arriving at his usual time. His initial frustration dissolved when he learned the train had mechanical troubles that caused significant delays. While waiting for the next train, he struck up a conversation with another passenger who would later become his most valued business partner. What appeared as an inconvenience was actually divine orchestration. The universe never stops communicating. It is you who must learn to listen. Each synchronicity serves as a gentle nudge, a cosmic wink suggesting you pay attention. When you notice these patterns, you're glimpsing the invisible threads that connect all events in your life. These are not coincidences, but confirmations that you walk in harmony with universal forces. Your role is not to force meaning, but to remain open to the messages that surround you. The universe speaks through repetition, because it understands that humans require multiple encounters with truth before recognition dawns. Each synchronicity you notice strengthens your connection to this universal language. Practice. Sacred recognition. As the day draws to a close, find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Take 3 deep breaths, allowing your awareness to expand. On a piece of paper, list 3 synchronicities you've witnessed recently, patterns that caught your attention, or coincidences that felt meaningful. For each one, close your eyes and whisper your gratitude to the universe for weaving these signs into the fabric of your life. Feel the warmth of recognition as you acknowledge these divine messages meant specifically for you. Chapter 4. Desire as Destiny. A weaver sat at her loom in a small mountain village, her fingers working the threads with practiced grace. Each morning she created beautiful tapestries that others praised, yet her heart yearned to weave stories of distant lands she had never seen. In quiet moments, she felt shame for wanting more than the peaceful life she had been given. You, too, may have felt this conflict, the whisper of a greater calling battling against the voice of contentment. Yet what appears as mere wanting often masks a deeper truth. Desire is the universe's compass, pointing toward your destined path. When you sense a persistent longing that will not be silenced, you encounter not the ego's greed but the soul's recognition of its next evolution. These desires arrive not to torment, but to guide. They are sacred messages encoded in the language of yearning. Consider how a flower knows to turn toward the sun without being taught. Your authentic desires function similarly. They orient you toward the light of your highest expression. When you suppress these impulses, you create resistance to the very abundance seeking to find you. A merchant named Walter discovered this truth after years of denying his passion for teaching others. He believed focusing on his business alone showed proper dedication. Yet the more he ignored his calling to share wisdom, the more his prosperity seemed to stagnate. Only when he honored both aspects of his nature, the merchant and the teacher, did abundance begin flowing freely again. Your desires are not random accidents or selfish indulgences. They are divine curriculum, carefully chosen to guide your growth. When you judge them as wrong or unworthy, you reject the universe's invitation to expand. The path to manifestation opens when you recognize that what you want also wants you. The spiritual law operates with elegant precision. What you resist persists. What you embrace transforms. Your authentic desires are not obstacles to overcome, but treasures to be claimed. They reveal the unique ways you are meant to express and experience the infinite abundance of life. Sacred practice. Each evening, take a quiet moment with your journal. Write down one true desire that stirs in your heart. Beneath it, inscribe these words: "This is my alignment, not my lack." Let this practice remind you that wanting is not evidence of absence, but recognition of the abundance already seeking you. Chapter 5. The Pull of Invisible Allies. In a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Clara arranged her spice jars each morning, carefully placing each one with intention. Though her small shop struggled, she maintained an unwavering faith that the universe would provide exactly what she needed. One particularly challenging morning, as her last coins clinked in her purse, an elderly woman appeared at her doorstep. "I've traveled far," the woman said, "seeking the perfect spices for my daughter's wedding feast." What began as a simple transaction transformed into a lasting connection. The woman's daughter became a regular customer, and through her, word of Clara's exceptional spices spread throughout the region. When you align with trust, the universe orchestrates support in ways that transcend ordinary understanding. These divine appointments arrive precisely when needed, often through unexpected channels. Each person who crosses your path carries potential assistance, wisdom, or opportunity, if you remain open to receiving it. The law of attraction works not just through your thoughts and feelings, but through the web of relationships the universe weaves around you. Every ally who appears in your life represents a thread in this sacred tapestry, bringing exactly what you require for your next step of growth. Consider the tale of Gregory, a master craftsman who prided himself on complete self-reliance. When fellow artisans offered to share their techniques or connect him with potential clients, he declined, believing acceptance would diminish his independence. His work remained beautiful, but reached few eyes, until one day, exhaustion forced him to accept help from an apprentice. This simple act of receiving opened a flood of support he hadn't known he needed. The universe often sends assistance cloaked in human form. These allies appear as friends, mentors, customers, even seeming strangers, each one carrying a piece of your manifestation puzzle. Your willingness to receive their support directly impacts the flow of abundance into your life. Remember, declining help doesn't demonstrate strength. It demonstrates resistance to the very channels through which the universe seeks to bless you. Every person who offers support is a divine messenger, carrying precisely what you need in that moment. Sacred practice today. Thank an ally in your life, silently or aloud, for being a vessel of divine support. Chapter 6. The Door that Refuses to Open. The first sign of support often appears in unexpected forms, through people placed precisely in your path at the moment you need them most. These allies emerge not by chance, but through the precise orchestration of universal forces responding to your alignment. Consider the tale of Hazel, who owned a small bookshop at the edge of town. Day after day she attempted to expand her business in the direction she thought best, a larger location in the city center. Each attempt met with frustration. Properties slipped through her fingers, loans fell through, and potential partnerships dissolved. Yet in her heart, she maintained an unwavering connection to her vision of growth. One morning, a wandering artist entered her shop, seeking shelter from the rain. As they talked, Hazel learned the adjacent building, a charming space she'd never noticed, belonged to the artist's family. Within weeks, that very space became her new shop, more perfect than anything she'd pursued in the city center. The universe had been protecting her from a path that would have drained her resources, guiding her instead to an opportunity that aligned with her true purpose. Leonard's journey mirrors this wisdom. As a craftsman, he spent years trying to secure a position with a prestigious guild, facing rejection after rejection. His persistence seemed futile until he understood. These closed doors were not denials, but divine protection. The very skills he developed during this period of waiting ultimately led him to create his own unique style, one that surpassed anything he might have learned within the traditional guild system. These stories illuminate a fundamental truth. What appears as resistance often serves as redirection. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, sometimes holds us back from paths that would diminish our light, guiding us instead toward opportunities that align with our highest good. When doors remain firmly shut, it's not a sign of failure. It's the universe's way of protecting you from settling for less than what awaits. The allies who appear in these moments of redirection, like Hazel's artist visitor or the unexpected mentors who guided Leonard, serve as bridges to your next level of expansion. They arrive precisely when your trust in the universal plan creates space for their entrance. Practice. Each night, as you prepare for sleep, find a quiet moment to connect with this truth. Whisper softly to yourself, "Every closed door is a greater opening waiting for me." Let these words settle into your consciousness, affirming your trust in the universe's perfect timing and protection. Chapter 7. The Magnet of Gratitude. In the heart of an ancient marketplace, Minnie kept a small stall where she sold herbs and spices. Each morning, before opening her shop, she would pause to appreciate the aromatic treasures before her, the golden turmeric, the rich cinnamon, the verdant basil. What began as a simple practice soon transformed her entire experience of life. The universe operates through an unwavering principle. What you focus upon expands. When you direct your attention toward the abundance already present in your life, you activate a magnetic force that draws more toward you. This is not merely positive thinking. It is the operation of cosmic law. As you acknowledge the gifts already bestowed upon you, you tune your vibration to the frequency of receiving. Each expression of gratitude sends ripples through the universal field, creating openings for greater blessings to flow. This is why the wisest among us have always begun their days in thanksgiving. Minnie noticed that on days when she counted her blessings, customers appeared more frequently, opportunities arose unexpectedly, and even her herbs seemed to retain their freshness longer. She had unknowingly discovered what Clyde, a wealthy merchant, learned only after losing everything. Clyde had spent years focusing on what was missing in his life: the contracts he hadn't won, the investments that hadn't flourished, the partnerships that hadn't materialized. His fixation on lack had become a self-fulfilling prophecy, drawing more experiences of scarcity into his life. Only when he began to appreciate what remained, his health, his knowledge, his ability to begin again, did his fortunes begin to shift. The truth reveals itself. Gratitude is not a response to abundance. It is the catalyst for it. When you exist in a state of appreciation, you align with the natural flow of universal energy. This alignment opens channels through which more blessings can reach you. Morning practice. As the sun rises each day, before your feet touch the ground, name 3 specific things for which you feel genuine gratitude. Let the feeling of appreciation fill your entire being. This practice attunes your energy to the frequency of receiving and sets in motion the universal law of increase. Chapter 8. The Test of Patience. In a distant village among rolling hills, there lived a weaver named Flora. Each day she would sit at her loom, weaving intricate patterns that reflected the dreams held within her heart. As the seasons turned, she watched others achieve their aspirations, while her own remained suspended in time's gentle web. The wisdom of the ages speaks of a truth often overlooked in moments of waiting. Every seed planted in the soil of existence requires its own sacred timing. Your deepest yearnings are not mere wishes cast into the void. They are divine appointments unfolding in perfect sequence. When you feel suspended between desire and manifestation, know that this space is not empty. It pulses with unseen preparation. Like Flora at her loom, each thread of patience you weave strengthens the fabric of your coming blessing. The universe operates not through haste, but through harmonious alignment. Henry, a humble potter, discovered this truth through his own journey. For years, he molded clay with visions of opening a grand workshop where he could share his craft. As time passed without apparent progress, his initial frustration transformed into a profound understanding. His hands were not just shaping clay, but molding his own readiness. The appearance of delay often masks the universe's most intricate workings. What seems like waiting is actually a sacred dance of energetic preparation. Each moment of patience demonstrates your trust in divine timing. Each breath of acceptance aligns you more closely with your approaching good. Remember, the oak tree does not question the time it takes to reach its full height. The rose does not force its petals open before dawn. In the same way, your dreams unfold according to universal law, neither hurried nor delayed, but perfectly timed. This truth carries ancient power. Patience is not passive waiting, but active faith. It is the quiet confidence that what is meant for you is already in motion, already making its way to you through countless unseen channels. When those moments of doubt arise, when the distance between now and your desire feels vast, remember that patience itself is a signal, a whisper from the universe confirming that your blessing approaches. Your role is not to force or rush, but to remain steadfast in trust. Each time frustration arises, breathe and repeat. My gift is in motion. My role is to keep still. Chapter 9. The Language of Imagination. Along a winding path through an ancient forest, a woman named Doris walked each morning, lost in vivid daydreams. As she strolled beneath the swaying branches, images would bloom in her mind of the healing center she longed to build, of people finding solace within its walls. At first, she dismissed these visions as mere fantasies, pushing them aside to focus on what she deemed practical matters. Yet these images persisted, growing clearer and more detailed with each passing day. The universe speaks first in pictures, painting possibilities upon the canvas of your consciousness. What you perceive as idle imagination is often the first light of creation dawning in your mind. Your thoughts are not random. They are the architects of tomorrow. When an image returns to you repeatedly, when it fills you with inexplicable joy and certainty, you are receiving the energetic blueprint of what seeks to manifest through you. The universe does not waste energy on empty fantasies. Each vision that takes root in your heart carries the seed of its own fulfillment. In a distant marketplace, a merchant named Everett would often glimpse flashes of future moments, conversations yet to happen, opportunities still unfolding. He doubted these glimpses, believing his mind was playing tricks. But as each vision materialized in the physical world, he began to understand. His inner sight was not deception, but divine perception. The doubt you feel toward your inner visions is the final resistance before surrender to your power. When you learn to trust the pictures painted in your mind's eye, you step into alignment with the universe's creative force. Your imagination is not escape. It is the workshop where reality is first shaped. What you see clearly in your mind, you will hold in your hands. This is the law that governs all creation. The universe first shows you what it intends to give, through visualization, through daydreams, through the pictures that dance behind your closed eyes. These are not distractions from reality, but previews of what approaches. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. For 10 minutes each day, close your eyes and step fully into your vision. Feel the textures, hear the sounds, breathe in the aromas of your dream fulfilled. Let your entire being resonate with the reality of it. This is not pretense. It is practice in holding the frequency of what you are calling forth. Your imagination is the bridge between desire and manifestation. Chapter 10. The Seed of Trust. A weathered farmer named Abigail stood at the edge of her barren field, clutching a handful of precious seeds. The village elders warned her the soil was dead, the season wrong, the omens unfavorable. Yet something within her spirit whispered otherwise, a knowing that transcended logic and circumstance. When you plant a seed in the fertile soil of faith, you invoke forces beyond mortal comprehension. The universe responds not to external conditions, but to the unwavering certainty within your heart. Each seed you plant, whether a dream, an intention, or an endeavor, grows first in the rich earth of your belief before breaking through to physical form. Abigail sowed those seeds with reverence, tending them daily though no sprouts appeared. Her neighbors questioned her sanity, yet she continued to water the bare earth, speaking words of life over seemingly lifeless ground. For she understood that manifestation begins in the invisible realm, nourished by the waters of absolute trust. This mirrors the path of Stanley, a merchant who dreamed of establishing trade routes across treacherous seas. Though maps showed only danger and advisors counseled caution, he followed his inner compass. Day after day, he prepared his ships and crew while others mocked his foolish preparations. Yet Stanley had learned the ancient truth, that faith precedes form, that trust creates the very path it travels upon. The universe honors this kind of pure belief, the kind that requires no physical evidence to sustain it. When you plant your dreams in such fertile soil, watering them with unwavering faith despite all contrary appearances, you align with the creative force that brings worlds into being. Your role is not to question how the seed will grow, but to maintain steadfast trust in its inevitable blossoming. Every great manifestation began as a seed planted in faith, whether a creative vision, a healing intention, or an ambitious dream. The soil may appear barren to others. The timing may seem wrong, but your inner knowing supersedes all external judgment. Just as Abigail's seeds eventually burst forth in abundant life, and Stanley's ships found safe passage to prosperous shores, your own seeds of intention are even now taking root in the fertile ground of possibility. The universe asks only that you maintain your faith, that you continue tending the invisible growth occurring beneath the surface of ordinary reality. This mirrors the deepest truth about manifestation, that what you seek is already growing, already in motion, already reaching toward the light of actualization. Your faith is not blind hope, but active participation in the process of creation. Each evening before you rest, pause to nurture the seeds you've planted with this sacred affirmation. My faith waters the seed already growing. Part 2. The Dance of Alignment. Chapter 11. The Call of Release. In a quiet mountain village lived Sadie, a woman who spent her days weaving intricate tapestries. Each thread she wove carried her hopes, dreams, and deepest longings. Yet the more tightly she gripped these desires, the more they seemed to slip through her fingers like water. She filled her small cottage with unfinished works, each representing an unfulfilled wish, until the weight of expectation made the air heavy with yearning. The universe operates through a sacred paradox. What you desperately clutch remains forever just beyond reach, while what you release returns multiplied. This truth echoes through the ages, whispered by sages and written in the stars. Liberation comes through letting go. When you release your grip on outcomes, you create space for divine orchestration. Your role is not to force or manipulate, but to trust and allow. The universe cannot fill hands already full of fear, doubt, and attachment. Only in emptiness can abundance flow. Milton, a wealthy merchant, surrounded himself with treasures from distant lands. His chambers overflowed with silk, gold, and precious stones, each acquisition an attempt to fill an inner void. Yet with every new possession, his anxiety grew. What if thieves came? What if market prices fell? What if he lost it all? His wealth became a prison of perpetual worry. One stormy night, as waves threatened his ships laden with cargo, Milton faced a choice: cling to his possessions or surrender to divine wisdom. In that moment of release, as he let go of his need to control, something shifted. The storm passed, and with it went his fearful attachment. He discovered that true abundance flows not from accumulation, but from trust in the infinite supply of the universe. These ancient teachings reveal a timeless truth. What you resist persists. What you embrace transforms. When you release your white-knuckled grip on life, you allow the universe to work its perfect alchemy. Your surrender becomes an invitation for grace to enter. The art of letting go requires neither force nor struggle. It asks only that you soften, that you trust, that you create space for miracles to manifest. Like a flower naturally opening to the sun, your release allows the light of abundance to reach previously shadowed places. Sacred practice. Choose one thing to release today. A physical object that no longer serves you, a thought that weighs heavily on your mind, or a fear that constricts your spirit. As you let it go, speak these words. I release what no longer serves my highest good, making space for divine blessings to flow. Feel the lightness that comes with surrender, knowing that your release creates a vacuum for greater gifts to enter. Chapter 12. The Signal of Joy. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, a flower seller named Ivy arranged her blooms with mechanical precision. Though successful, she approached each day as a series of tasks to complete, believing joy would arrive once she reached her goals. Each evening, she would mark her achievements in a leather-bound ledger, waiting for the moment when accomplishment would finally bring happiness. Through your journey of manifestation, you may have fallen into the same pattern, postponing joy until the arrival of your desires. Yet this ancient wisdom reveals a powerful truth. Joy is not the destination, but the vehicle itself. When you radiate joy, you activate the highest frequency of attraction. The universe responds not to your words or actions, but to your energetic signature. Joy is the purest form of abundance energy, a magnetic force that draws more reasons to rejoice. While gratitude opens the door, joy swings it wide, inviting miracles to dance through. Vincent, a master artisan, crafted beautiful vessels yet found no pleasure in his work. He believed excellence demanded seriousness, that success required strain. His creations, though perfect in form, lacked the spark of life that comes from joy. One morning, watching children play with clay by the fountain, he witnessed their delight in creation. Their laughter transformed simple mud into treasures of imagination. In that moment, Vincent understood. Joy was not the reward for mastery, but its very essence. As he allowed himself to play with his craft, to find delight in the process rather than fixating on outcomes, his work transformed. Customers were drawn not just to the quality of his pieces, but to the energy they carried, vessels that seemed to hold happiness itself. This wisdom speaks across centuries. Joy is both the path and the destination. When you choose joy first, without conditions, you align with the natural state of the universe. You need not wait for circumstances to shift before allowing yourself to feel good. The very act of choosing joy reshapes your reality. Notice how children manifest naturally. They don't strategize or strain. They simply play. Their joy attracts more joy. Their laughter draws more reasons to laugh. They understand instinctively what many spend lifetimes learning. Joy is not earned. It is claimed. Your joy is not frivolous. It is the most practical tool of manifestation you possess. When you lead with lightness, when you allow yourself to feel good now, you broadcast the frequency of abundance. The universe cannot help but respond in kind. Sacred practice. Laugh deliberately today, even once, and affirm, "Joy is my signal, and joy is my draw." Chapter 13. The Mirror of Others. Along a winding path through an ancient garden, a woman named Hattie walked each morning, greeting those she passed. Some smiled warmly, others hurried past with averted eyes, and a few responded with harsh words. Day after day, she noticed a pattern. The world seemed to treat her exactly as she secretly felt about herself. When her thoughts dwelled on unworthiness, strangers appeared cold and distant. On days when her spirit lifted, the same path filled with warm greetings and kind gestures. Through this simple observation, a profound truth unveiled itself. The outer world mirrors your inner state with perfect precision. The law of attraction operates through this mirroring principle. Your relationships, from fleeting encounters to deepest bonds, reflect your vibration back to you. What you perceive in others, their judgment, their acceptance, their behavior, emerges from the energy you emanate. In a distant village, a merchant named Rufus found himself constantly irritated by his customers' impatience. Every interaction seemed to bring forth demanding personalities who tested his composure. Only when he gazed deeper did he recognize that their haste mirrored his own internal rushing. Their demands echoed his self-imposed pressures. This mirror principle extends beyond mere behavior. The universe orchestrates each interaction as a sacred teaching, revealing what requires healing within. Those who trigger emotional responses carry messages about aspects of yourself awaiting recognition and integration. When you encounter difficulty in others, pause and turn inward. The qualities that disturb you most powerfully point to shadows within your own consciousness seeking light. Your reactions become your teachers, each emotional response a gateway to deeper self-understanding. The path to transformation begins with this recognition. Others do not create your experience. They reflect it. As you shift your inner vibration, the mirror of your relationships transforms accordingly. What you heal within yourself naturally heals in your outer world. The practice. Each time someone mirrors discomfort, gently ask, "What in me calls this forth, and how can I heal it?" Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Test of Faithfulness. In a quiet village lived a woman named Lydia, who tended a modest garden with 3 fruit trees. Each morning she gazed at the vast orchards beyond her fence, yearning for abundance that seemed forever out of reach. Though her trees bore sweet fruit, she struggled to appreciate their gifts, always looking toward the horizon, where greater harvests grew. The universe speaks through what we already hold. Those who master little attract much, for stewardship is the language of trust. When you honor what flows through your hands today, you signal readiness for tomorrow's increase. Lydia noticed that despite her daily care, her trees yielded less each season. One morning, while watering without presence, an old sage appeared at her fence. "Your thoughts water these trees more than your pitcher," he said. "They feel your distraction, your wish to be elsewhere." Plants, like all living things, respond to the energy we offer. His words awakened her. That day, Lydia began treating her small garden as sacred ground. She spoke to each tree with gratitude, polished every leaf until it gleamed, and celebrated each blossom as if it were gold. Within months, her trees bore fruit so abundant that travelers came from distant lands to taste their sweetness. In contrast, there lived a merchant named Arthur who inherited a prosperous shop. He treated his wares carelessly, overlooking dust on shelves and ignoring torn displays. "When I own a grand emporium," he would say, "then I shall take proper care." But his negligence spoke louder than his dreams. Customers dwindled, sensing his disregard. The universe withdrew its flow, matching his energy of dismissal. The law remains constant. What you have now is your training ground. Every small blessing is a test of readiness for greater ones. Those who prove faithful with little become trusted with much. Your current resources, whether money, relationships, or talents, are not lesser versions of what you seek, but the very keys to its attraction. Each moment offers a choice to honor what is present or to dismiss it while awaiting more. The universe observes how you handle today's gifts before entrusting you with tomorrow's treasures. True abundance flows not from wanting more, but from treating what you have as if it were everything you ever desired. Ancient practice. Select one resource in your life, perhaps a houseplant, a piece of clothing, or a sum of money. Today, treat it as if it were the most precious gift you've ever received. Polish it, protect it, speak to it with reverence. Feel gratitude for its presence in your life. This practice signals to the universe your readiness for greater trust. Chapter 15. The Paradox of Surrender. In the heart of an ancient marketplace, a merchant named Nell clung tightly to her wares, watching every coin and guarding each item with fierce possession. Her grip on control was as firm as the locks on her storehouse doors. Yet despite her vigilance, abundance seemed to flow around her rather than toward her. The universe operates in paradox. What you grasp slips away, while what you release flows back multiplied. This truth exists at the core of all creation, yet remains hidden from those who clutch too tightly to what they fear to lose. Irving, a wandering trader, had once shared Nell's fearful mindset. His caravans were heavily guarded, his routes carefully hidden, his trust given to none. But one stormy night, his caravan was lost in the desert. With supplies dwindling and hope fading, he finally threw his arms wide to the stars and surrendered his fate to the universe. That very night, his camels, drawn by an unseen force, led him to an oasis he'd never known existed. There, he found not only salvation, but also traders who opened new routes to him, paths more profitable than any he'd traveled before. You cannot receive with closed hands. When you release your iron grip on outcomes, you create space for the universe to work in ways your limited vision cannot perceive. Surrender is not defeat. It is an invitation to cosmic cooperation. Witness how water flows. It does not fight the path, but surrenders to every curve. Yet in that very surrender lies its unstoppable power. The same force that carves canyons and shapes continents does so through absolute surrender to what is. Your resistance is a dam holding back the flow of abundance. Each worry, each fear, each desperate grab for control becomes another brick in that wall. But like water, abundance knows no obstacle. It simply awaits your surrender to flow where it naturally will. Through surrender, Irving discovered that the universe held grander plans than his careful calculations could devise. His business flourished not through tight control, but through trust in divine timing and direction. What appeared as loss transformed into gateway after gateway of gain. When you surrender your grip on the known, you open yourself to possibilities your mind cannot conceive. The universe operates beyond the limitations of human planning. Your surrender is not an end but a beginning, an opening through which greater good can flow. Practice. Find a quiet moment each day to whisper, "I surrender," until you feel peace replace resistance. Let this be your gateway to receiving more than your control could ever secure. Chapter 16. The Invitation to Boldness. In the shadow of towering mountains, a young woman named Opal lived in a small village, her dreams as vast as the peaks above, yet her actions as small as pebbles at their base. Each morning she would gaze at the sun rising over those majestic heights, feeling the stirring of possibility within her heart, yet remaining rooted in the familiar soil of hesitation. The universe speaks through action. Your boldness becomes a beacon, drawing to you those forces that have waited in the wings of your life, anticipating your courage to step forward. When you move with conviction, the world moves with you. Through years of running his modest shop, Chester had grown accustomed to hiding his true vision beneath layers of safe choices and careful words. His greatest ideas remained locked away in journals, never touching the light of day. Yet the universe had planted these seeds of inspiration within him for a purpose. They were meant to bloom, not to remain forever buried in the soil of fear. One morning, after years of silence, Chester shared his innovative concept with a visiting merchant. His voice trembled at first, but as the words flowed, they carried the weight of truth that had long awaited expression. The merchant's eyes lit up with recognition. He had been searching for exactly such an innovation. Within weeks, their partnership transformed Chester's small shop into a thriving enterprise. This is the way of universal law. Bold action creates ripples that extend far beyond the initial splash of courage. Your willingness to step forward, to speak your truth, to act with conviction, becomes a magnetic force that draws like energy toward you. The universe does not require perfection in your attempts, only authenticity in your expression. When Opal finally dared to share her poetry at the village gathering, her hands shook as she unfolded her carefully written chapters. But as her voice grew stronger with each verse, something shifted in the air. Her words touched hearts that had been waiting for exactly her kind of medicine. Soon, people from neighboring villages sought her out, asking her to share her gift at their celebrations. This is the truth that awaits your discovery. Boldness is not the absence of fear, but rather the decision to move forward despite it. Each step taken in courage amplifies your energetic signature, broadcasting to the universe your readiness to receive. The law of attraction responds not to your wishes, but to your willingness to rise into them. When you act with bold conviction, you align yourself with the current of creation itself. This alignment magnetizes opportunities, resources, and allies that resonate with your courageously expressed truth. Practice. Act today in one bold way, small or large, whispering, "Courage is my companion." Chapter 17. The Curve of Detours. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Esther sat amid her unsold wares, tears threatening to spill from her eyes. For years, she had built her trade routes with meticulous care, establishing connections across distant lands. Yet now, as war closed the eastern passages and storms rendered the western routes impassable, her carefully constructed plans lay in ruins. The universe speaks through interruption. When your path seems blocked, it is not obstruction, but redirection that unfolds before you. These moments of apparent defeat carry within them seeds of greater victory, waiting to take root in the soil of trust. Eugene, a wandering artisan, discovered this truth on his journey through the desert. His caravan had taken a wrong turn, leading them far from their intended destination. As frustration mounted among his fellow travelers, Eugene noticed unusual rocks glittering in the sand. These stones, he would later learn, were precious gems found nowhere else in the known world. His mistaken path had led him to wealth beyond measure. The detours in your life are not accidents. They are precise adjustments, carefully orchestrated by divine wisdom. When your plans dissolve, when familiar roads close before you, when chaos seems to reign, these are moments of sacred recalibration. Think of a river meeting a boulder. The water does not stop flowing. It simply finds a new course. In doing so, it often creates patterns of beauty that could never have existed had it continued on its original path. Your life flows in similar ways. What appears as disruption is often protection, leading you toward possibilities you could not have imagined. Like Esther, who discovered that when her trade routes closed, local artisans began bringing her unique treasures she would never have encountered otherwise. Her forced adaptation opened doors to greater prosperity than her original plans could have provided. The universe operates with perfect timing, even when that timing appears to contradict your carefully laid plans. Each detour serves as a celestial compass, pointing you toward your highest good. The path of least resistance is not always the path of greatest blessing. When interruption appears, when your carefully constructed plans crumble, pause and remember. This is not a denial of your desires, but a refinement of their fulfillment. The universe sees the complete tapestry of your life, while you glimpse only a single thread. Sacred practice. In moments of interruption or apparent delay, breathe deeply and speak these words. This redirection is perfection in disguise. Let this affirmation remind you that divine wisdom orchestrates even the detours of your journey. When plans dissolve, when paths close, when chaos seems to reign, this practice will center you in trust, allowing the greater design to unfold through you. Chapter 18. The Magic of Expectancy. In a small village between rolling hills, a weaver named Fay spent her days creating intricate tapestries. Each morning she would gaze at her empty loom with trepidation, fearing her hands might falter or her patterns might fail. Her work, though skilled, remained modest in scope, limited by the boundaries of her own expectations. When you approach life with hesitation, the universe mirrors your doubt. Your expectations are not mere thoughts. They are magnetic forces that shape the fabric of your experience. Within every moment lies the potential for magnificence, yet it will only manifest to the degree that you anticipate it. Fay's transformation began when an old tapestry maker shared a simple truth. The threads respond to the vision you hold. At first, these words seemed nothing more than pleasant wisdom. But as Fay began each day expecting her finest work to emerge, her fingers moved with newfound grace. Colors appeared more vivid, Patterns flowed more naturally, and customers who had never noticed her work before began stopping at her door. In the marketplace across the village, Clarence faced similar revelations. His small pottery shop had sustained him, but never flourished. Each clay vessel he crafted carried the weight of his limited beliefs, until the day he chose to expect miracles. He began speaking to his clay as though it held infinite potential. "Today, beauty will flow through my hands," he would whisper as he worked. Gradually, his ordinary pots transformed into vessels of extraordinary grace. People spoke of how his work seemed to capture light itself. The law of attraction responds not to your words or actions alone, but to the energy of your expectations. When you rise each morning anticipating goodness, the universe conspires to fulfill that vision. Your expectancy becomes a beacon, drawing toward you experiences that match your highest anticipations. Those who achieve greatly are not necessarily more talented or fortunate. They simply expect more from each moment. They understand that expectancy is the soil from which possibility grows. Like a flower turning naturally toward sunlight, your life experience bends toward what you most confidently expect. This truth reveals itself in countless ways: in the smile that draws smiles in return, in the anticipation of success that smooths the path to achievement, in the expectation of abundance that seems to multiply opportunities. Your expectancy creates an energetic template that reality rushes to fill. This power lies dormant within you until activated by conscious choice. Each morning holds the potential for miracles, but only to the degree that you expect them. The universe matches your level of expectancy with unwavering precision. Practice. Awaken every morning declaring, "Today favors me." Chapter 19. The Energy of Generosity. Long ago, in a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Lillian sold fine silks and spices. Though her shop prospered, she guarded every coin as if it were her last, fearing that sharing would diminish her wealth. Each night she would carefully count her earnings, taking comfort in their solid presence. The universe speaks through the law of circulation. What you hold too tightly eventually slips away, while what you share with an open heart returns multiplied. This ancient truth governs not just material wealth, but every form of abundance in your life. When you clutch tightly to what you have, you create resistance in the natural flow of prosperity. Your grip becomes like a dam, blocking the river of abundance that seeks to reach you. The universe's nature is expansion. It knows only how to grow, to multiply, to increase. Yet this multiplication can only occur through movement, through the sacred dance of giving and receiving. In time, Lillian noticed that customers were drawn not to her wares alone, but to the merchants who offered samples, who shared stories, who gave their time freely. One day she began offering small gifts with each purchase, a pinch of rare spice, a fragment of silk. To her amazement, her generosity didn't deplete her stores, but attracted more abundance. Her shop became known not just for its goods, but for its spirit of sharing. Howard, a wealthy goldsmith, lived in a grand house filled with precious metals and gems. He trusted no one, fearing theft and loss. His wealth became his prison, his fear of losing it greater than his joy in possessing it. Yet when a young apprentice asked to learn his craft, something shifted. As Howard shared his knowledge, he discovered a different kind of richness, one that grew with each lesson given. This truth echoes through the ages. Giving aligns you with the universe's natural abundance. Every act of generosity creates a vacuum that must be filled. Like breath itself, you must exhale to receive fresh air. When you give with joy, expecting nothing in return, you activate the law of multiplication. Your gifts need not be grand. A kind word, a moment of attention, a small act of service. The universe measures not the size of the gift, but the love with which it is given. Each genuine act of giving sends ripples through the fabric of creation, returning to you in ways often unexpected but always perfect. Practice. Today, give something of yourself, whether time, love, or resource. As you give, speak these words: "As I give, I receive multiplied." Feel the truth of this statement in your heart, knowing that your gift is not a loss, but a seed planted in the fertile soil of universal abundance. Chapter 20. The Rhythm of Receiving. In the heart of an ancient village, there lived a weaver named Agnes, whose tapestries captured the essence of beauty itself. Though her work drew praise from all who beheld it, she would bow her head and dismiss their words, believing herself unworthy of admiration. "My work is nothing special," she would murmur, turning away from the light of recognition. The universe operates through perpetual exchange, an eternal dance of giving and receiving. When you block the flow of receiving, you create a dam that prevents abundance from circulating through your life. Every blessing offered to you carries the sacred energy of the universe itself, waiting to multiply. The greatest masters understand that receiving gracefully is as vital as giving generously. You cannot pour from an empty vessel, nor can you truly give if you refuse to receive. The universe seeks balance in all things, and your resistance to accepting creates an energetic imbalance that affects all areas of your life. In a neighboring village lived Clyde, a potter whose simple vessels brought joy to many. When others praised his work, he would smile and say, "Thank you," with genuine appreciation. His acceptance of kind words and support allowed his talent to flourish, and his prosperity grew naturally, like a well-watered garden. Your ability to receive mirrors your capacity to attract abundance. Each time you deflect a compliment, reject help, or diminish your worth, you send a signal to the universe that you are not ready for more. But when you open yourself to receiving, whether it be praise, assistance, or material blessings, you align with the natural flow of abundance. The law of attraction responds not just to your thoughts and feelings, but to your willingness to receive. When you accept blessings with grace and gratitude, you demonstrate trust in the universe's endless capacity to provide. This trust becomes a magnetic force, drawing more goodness into your life. Practice today. When offered kindness, say, "Thank you. I receive it fully." Part 3. The Arrival of Power. Chapter 21. The Flame of Clarity. In a bustling marketplace, a merchant stood before Elsie, offering precious gems. "Which do you desire?" he asked. But Elsie, overwhelmed by choice, merely shrugged and walked away empty-handed. Day after day she wandered the streets, feeling a yearning in her heart, but unable to name what she sought. The universe extended its gifts, yet they remained just beyond her grasp, for she had not learned to articulate her wishes. The law of attraction responds with precision to precision. When your desires remain vague, unfocused whispers, the universe can only return unclear results. Like a master craftsman who requires detailed specifications before creating a masterpiece, the universe awaits your clear instructions. Your thoughts and desires are spiritual blueprints. The more specific your vision, the more exact the manifestation. Yet many drift through life like ships without coordinates, wondering why they never reach their destination. The universe does not respond to someday or maybe. It answers decisive calls with decisive action. In the same marketplace, Franklin approached the merchant's stall with purpose. "I seek a sapphire," he declared, "deep blue like twilight, cut in an oval shape to be set in silver." The merchant smiled, reached beneath his counter, and produced exactly what Franklin had described. Through clarity, Franklin activated the law of attraction's most potent force: focused intention. Your ability to manifest mirrors your ability to clarify. When you speak to the universe in clear, precise language, you create a vibrational frequency that can be matched exactly. Vague desires generate vague results, while specific intentions create specific manifestations. Think of the universe as an infinite kitchen, ready to prepare any dish you desire, but you must provide the recipe, the ingredients, the proportions, the cooking method. Without these details, even the most skilled chef cannot create your perfect meal. Yet clarity extends beyond mere physical description. True clarity encompasses the feeling, the purpose, the essence of your desire. When you can articulate not just what you want, but why you want it and how it will transform your life, you create a magnetic force that the universe cannot resist. Write out your vision today in precise language. Chapter 22. The Dance of Action. In the heart of an ancient village, a young weaver named Dorothy sat at her loom, dreaming of becoming the kingdom's most celebrated artisan. Day after day, she wove intricate patterns while waiting for recognition to find her. Though her talent burned bright, her tapestries remained hidden in her modest workshop, unseen by those who could elevate her craft to greater heights. The universe speaks through action, not idle contemplation. When you hold yourself in waiting, you dim the very light meant to guide others to you. Your gifts are not meant to remain in shadow, preserved for some perfect moment that may never arrive. Consider how the sun does not wait for permission to rise, nor does the seed await invitation to push through soil. The universal law reveals that action aligned with intention creates an unstoppable force. It is through movement that energy flows, through doing that doors open. Leonard, a humble scribe, understood this truth. For years he crafted beautiful manuscripts but kept them locked away, believing his work unworthy of sharing. One day, witnessing a child's joy at a simple drawing, he realized his talents were not his to hoard. With trembling hands, he began sharing his work in the marketplace. Each scroll he displayed became a beacon, drawing those who resonated with his artistry. Soon, his manuscripts graced the libraries of nobles, not because he waited for worthiness, but because he dared to move. The law of attraction responds not to wishful thinking, but to energetic alignment expressed through action. When you step forward in faith, the universe mirrors your momentum. It is not enough to hold the vision of your desires. You must become the living embodiment of what you seek. Dorothy's transformation began the day she carried her finest tapestry to the royal festival. Her hands shook as she displayed her work, but in that act of courage, she aligned with her destiny. The Queen's eyes found her creation, and Dorothy's life changed not because she waited, but because she walked through her fear. Movement is the language of manifestation. Each step you take in alignment with your vision sends ripples through the fabric of reality, creating pathways where none existed before. The universe cannot guide a stationary vessel. It is through your motion that divine timing finds its perfect expression. Your desires are not random thoughts, but sacred assignments. They whisper of possibilities that can only materialize through your willing participation. The power of attraction gains momentum through action, transforming potential into reality through each aligned step. Practice. Take one inspired step today and affirm, "My steps awaken miracles." Chapter 23. The Gift of Awareness. In a quiet mountain monastery, a woman named Irene tended gardens day after day, performing her duties without truly seeing the beauty around her. Each morning she watered the flowers, swept the paths, and harvested herbs, all while her mind wandered elsewhere, lost in thoughts of what she should be doing instead. One dawn, as sunlight pierced through morning mist, something shifted. A dewdrop catching light on a spider's web caught her attention. For the first time, she noticed how the entire web shimmered with countless jewels of light. This simple moment awakened her to a profound truth. She had been sleepwalking through miracles. The universe does not hide its gifts. You simply must attune yourself to their presence. When you move through life unconsciously, you miss the sacred signals constantly appearing before you. Each moment carries messages. Each experience offers wisdom, but only to those who have cultivated the art of noticing. Clifford, a merchant in the village below, discovered this truth in his own way. For years, he blamed external circumstances for his struggles, the weather, the economy, other people's choices. Until one day, he began observing his own thoughts with the same attention he gave his ledgers. He witnessed how his mind created stories about every situation, how his assumptions shaped his reality before reality had a chance to reveal itself. Through this practice of self-observation, he recognized that his thoughts were like seeds, each one growing into the garden of his experience. When he thought of lack, he noticed lack everywhere. When he shifted to thoughts of abundance, evidence of plenty began appearing in unexpected places. This is the first key to manifesting: awareness. Before you can direct energy, you must first become conscious of it. Before you can transform patterns, you must first recognize them. The universe is constantly speaking to you through the language of experience, but its messages remain unheard until you develop the capacity to listen. Your power awakens not through forcing change, but through witnessing what is. As you cultivate awareness, you begin to see how your inner state creates your outer reality. You notice how your attention shapes your experience. You discover that what you focus on expands. This awareness is not something to achieve. It is your natural state, waiting to be remembered. Like Irene discovering the beauty that had always surrounded her, or Clifford recognizing the thought patterns that had always guided him, you too can awaken to the power that has always resided within you. ancient practice. Pause thrice daily, at dawn, noon, and dusk, and speak these words with full presence. I am aware, alive, awakened. Let each word resonate through your being, awakening you to the power of this moment. Chapter 24. The Tide of Abundance. In the depths of nature's vast expanse, pure awareness reveals itself as the first key to transformation. Through mindful observation, you begin to witness the infinite abundance that surrounds you in every moment. In a small town among rolling hills, the sun rises over Goldie's modest home. She counts her coins anxiously each morning, her heart heavy with worry about having enough. Her eyes focus only on what's missing: the empty spaces in her cupboards, the worn patches in her clothes, the dwindling numbers in her ledger. Yet one morning, as golden light streams through her window, something shifts in her perception. Her gaze falls upon a maple tree outside, its branches laden with thousands of leaves dancing in the breeze. Each leaf, she realizes, is a testament to nature's extravagance. The tree doesn't count its leaves or worry about running out. It simply expresses abundance naturally, effortlessly. This awakening spreads through her consciousness like ripples on still water. She begins noticing abundance everywhere: countless blades of grass beneath her feet, infinite stars wheeling overhead, boundless air filling her lungs with each breath. The universe reveals itself as an endless ocean of provision, and her former sense of lack dissolves in this new awareness. Ralph, a shopkeeper who once measured his worth solely by his weekly earnings, undergoes a similar transformation. For years his eyes fixated on his cash register's display, his mood rising and falling with each day's totals. But gradually he awakens to a deeper truth. Prosperity exists first in consciousness, before manifesting in form. As his awareness expands, he witnesses how abundance flows naturally when recognized. His rigid focus on monetary wealth softens into appreciation for the countless forms of richness in his life: the loyalty of his customers, the warmth of morning sunlight streaming through his shop windows, the melody of birdsong greeting each new day. Through their journeys, a timeless truth emerges: scarcity exists only in a sleeping mind. When you awaken to the infinite abundance already present, you align with the universe's natural state of endless provision. Your role is not to create abundance, but to become aware of its eternal presence. Observe abundance today: leaves, laughter, air, and say, I reside in infinite provision. Chapter 25. The Echo of Belief. The true measure of abundance lies not in what you possess, but in your capacity to perceive it. As the ancient wisdom teaches, your eyes will only ever witness what your heart believes possible. Consider the tale of Etta, who lived in a seaside village. Each morning, she would walk along the shore collecting only tiny shells, convinced they were all she deserved. Her small basket matched her small expectations, and day after day she returned home with merely a handful of ordinary treasures. In the same village lived Vernon, a fisherman who understood the ocean's generous nature. While others cast their nets close to shore, he sailed further, trusting in the sea's boundless gifts. His nets didn't just catch fish. They drew in unexpected treasures: rare shells, unusual specimens, and abundant catches that sustained the entire village. The universe operates with this same principle. When you approach life expecting scarcity, you train your eyes to see only limitation. But when you expand your vision to recognize abundance, the very same world reveals its infinite possibilities. This law manifests in every aspect of existence. Look at the stars scattered across the night sky, countless points of light freely sharing their brilliance. Observe the endless waves meeting the shore, each one unique, yet part of an infinite cycle of giving. The air you breathe flows ceaselessly, asking nothing in return. Your beliefs act as the lens through which abundance flows. A narrow lens restricts the flow, while an expanded consciousness allows prosperity to pour through unimpeded. Just as a river naturally flows toward the ocean, abundance naturally flows toward those who believe in its endless supply. The size of your container, your belief system, determines how much you can receive. Etta's small basket could only hold what matched her limited expectations. Vernon's expanded vision allowed him to receive the ocean's full generosity. This wisdom echoes through the ages. As within, so without. Your external reality mirrors your internal beliefs about what's possible. When you trust in abundance, you activate a magnetic force that draws more toward you. This isn't merely positive thinking. It's aligning with the universe's natural state of endless giving. The practice is simple yet powerful. Repeat often, "My belief expands. My reality responds." Let these words reshape your relationship with abundance, opening new channels for prosperity to flow through your life. Chapter 26. The Shadow as Teacher. In the soft glow of dawn, a merchant traversed the desert, carrying precious gems to distant lands. At each oasis, he would rest only in full sunlight, fearing the shadows cast by palm trees. The shadows seemed to him omens of danger, and he avoided them at all costs. Yet his journey grew increasingly difficult as he exhausted himself seeking only sun-drenched paths. This avoidance of shadows mirrors the resistance you may feel toward life's darker moments. Like the merchant, you might seek to stay only in the light, believing that challenges and setbacks represent failure or misalignment. But the universe operates through balance. Light and shadow dance as one. The shadow holds gifts that brightness alone cannot bestow. Each time you face uncertainty, each moment of doubt or difficulty, the universe extends an invitation to deepen your understanding. These shadows are not opposing forces to your light. They are the contrast that defines it. When setbacks arise, they arrive not as punishment, but as polish. Just as a diamond requires pressure to form and friction to shine, your inner light grows stronger through embracing rather than avoiding these shadowed moments. The universe sends these experiences not to dim your power, but to reveal its depths. Think of the master sculptor who sees in every block of marble both its current form and its hidden potential. The shadow of the chisel's mark is not destruction, but revelation. Each strike unveils the masterpiece within. Similarly, your challenges chip away at what is not truly you, revealing your authentic power. In the valleys of experience, wisdom blooms. In moments of uncertainty, clarity crystallizes. In times of apparent loss, true abundance reveals itself. These are not detours from your path, they are the path itself. A wandering sage once shared this truth. The shadow teaches what the light cannot. It shows us where we need to grow. Each shadow in your life points toward an area of potential expansion. Each setback illuminates a strength waiting to emerge. The universe speaks through contrast. When shadows fall across your path, they arrive as teachers bearing sacred lessons. Your role is not to banish them, but to embrace their wisdom, allowing them to refine and strengthen your spirit. Remember, the shadow's presence proves the existence of light. Without one, the other cannot be known. Your shadows are not your enemies. They are your silent allies in transformation. When shadow arises, whisper, "Thank you for revealing my strength." Every shadow carries with it an invitation. It asks, "Will you shrink from me, or will you allow me to reveal the deeper light you carry?" By meeting it with gratitude, you are no longer victim to its weight. You become the alchemist, turning discomfort into growth. The shadow is no longer an enemy, but a guide pointing to where your healing, compassion, and inner strength are waiting to expand. In this way, even moments of struggle become sacred thresholds of becoming. With practice, this whisper becomes a balm. Each time shadow arises, you greet it as a messenger rather than a threat. The more often you affirm this truth, the more you train your heart to see strength where fear once lived. Over time, you realize that the shadow is not here to diminish you, but to remind you of how far your light can reach. In gratitude, you learn that strength is not the absence of shadow, but the grace of walking with it. Chapter 27. The Joy of Alignment. A young woman named Myrtle walked through life, guided by an inner compass of joy. When her heart felt light and her steps buoyant, she knew she treaded the path of her highest good. In moments of alignment, even mundane tasks sparkled with hidden meaning. Washing dishes became a meditation. Organizing papers transformed into a dance with order. Yet there were days when heaviness crept in, when her spirit felt weighted and her thoughts clouded. At first she interpreted these moments as failure, as signs she had strayed from her path. But wisdom revealed itself through experience. These shadows were not her enemies, but her teachers. The core truth emerged. Alignment manifests as lightness of being. When you walk in harmony with your soul's purpose, a subtle joy permeates your experience. This joy needs no external cause. It simply is, rising from within like a spring of clear water. Orville's story reflects the opposite journey. He pushed against his inner knowing, forcing himself down paths that others had chosen for him. Each step felt like wading through mud, his energy depleting with every forced motion. He mistook this resistance for something to overcome, driving himself harder against the current of his own truth. Only when exhaustion finally forced him to stop did he recognize the message in his fatigue. The heaviness itself was a gift, a shadow teacher pointing toward realignment. When he finally surrendered to his authentic path, his energy returned like a tide, rushing back to shore. These experiences unveil a profound truth. Your body knows your alignment. Joy is not merely an emotion. It is a signal from the universe confirming your resonance with your highest path. When you feel light, when your heart sings without reason, you have touched the frequency of truth. The shadow moments serve as gentle course corrections, inviting you back to center. They are not punishments, but redirections, like a loving parent guiding a child back to safety. The contrast between alignment and misalignment becomes your most reliable compass. Practice. When you feel joy, pause and seal it by affirming, "This joy is proof of my alignment." By sealing joy in this way, you strengthen your relationship with it. Instead of letting it slip by unnoticed, you claim it as evidence of your path unfolding rightly. This practice shifts joy from being a random occurrence to becoming a compass. Each time you affirm its presence, you reinforce the understanding that joy is not frivolous. It is guidance. It is your spirit saying, "Yes, keep going this way." Carry this habit into your everyday moments, no matter how small the spark of joy may seem. A smile, a moment of laughter, a sense of ease, all are worthy of recognition. By affirming your alignment in these instances, you train yourself to notice more of them, and your life begins to fill with expanding circles of joy. Over time, you come to see joy not as rare, but as a constant thread, always available when you are in resonance with who you truly are. Chapter 28. The Silence That Speaks. In the heart of a bustling city, Beatrice filled every moment with sound. Music streamed through her headphones, television hummed in the background, and phone notifications chimed endlessly. She believed noise meant life, movement, progress. Yet beneath this constant din, an emptiness grew, a yearning for something her cluttered soundscape couldn't provide. Through the noise, your true self whispers. Like Beatrice, you may surround yourself with endless activity, believing motion equals growth. But wisdom lies in the spaces between, in the pause between breaths, in the silence between thoughts. The universe speaks in stillness. When you quiet the external world, an inner voice emerges, not with shouty demands, but with gentle knowing. This voice carries the seeds of your next evolution, the blueprint of your destiny. Willis discovered this truth in an unexpected power outage. As his devices fell silent and his usual distractions disappeared, he encountered something extraordinary, the voice of his own wisdom. In that pristine quiet, answers to questions he hadn't dared to ask rose naturally to the surface. His path, which had seemed clouded, suddenly shone with clarity. This reveals a fundamental truth. Silence is not empty. It is full of answers. When you step away from the world's constant chatter, you enter a sacred space where insight dwells. Here, in the absence of noise, presence grows. Your vibration naturally elevates, aligning with the frequency of truth. The universe orchestrates through silence. Like a conductor's pause between movements, these quiet moments are not dead space but pregnant possibility. They hold the power to realign your energy, reset your consciousness, and reveal your next step. You need not fear the quiet. What seems like absence is actually fullness. What appears as nothing contains everything. In silence, your energy field naturally clarifies, allowing you to perceive the subtle signals the universe constantly sends. Each moment of silence is an invitation to deeper knowing. When you accept this invitation, stepping willingly into stillness, you open yourself to profound guidance. The answers you seek often aren't found in external noise, but in internal quiet. Practice, find 10 minutes of silence today and let your heart answer questions unasked. 10 minutes of silence can feel like an eternity in the busyness of daily life. Yet it is within this stillness that the deepest answers arise. When you set aside this time, you give your heart permission to speak in its own quiet language. Through feelings, subtle images, or a soft knowing that does not need words. This silence becomes a sacred container where you are not striving to solve or fix, but simply allowing what already exists within you to surface. Often, the questions we carry do not need to be spoken aloud because our hearts already hold their responses. By pausing in silence, you bypass the noise of thought and tune into the wisdom that has always been present. It may come as a gentle reassurance, a sense of direction, or a release of something you didn't realize you were holding. What matters most is not forcing clarity, but creating space where it can naturally unfold. Let this practice be simple. Sit comfortably, breathe deeply, and open to the quiet. Imagine your heart as a vast sky, and allow anything that arises, feelings, memories, or inspirations, to pass through without judgment. Chapter 29. The Threshold of Becoming. In a village among ancient hills, Cora stood at her window each morning, watching the sun paint the sky in hues of promise. She felt the trembling of something immense approaching, not in the distant future, but in the immediate now. Like dewdrops gathering on a leaf's edge before their inevitable fall, she sensed herself suspended at the cusp of transformation. You stand at such a threshold now. The universe has been preparing you through every lesson, every synchronicity, every closed door that guided you here. This moment of readiness carries a particular vibration, a heightened awareness that tingles in your bones, whispers in your dreams, and quickens your breath with anticipation. Ernest, a merchant who had spent years studying sacred texts and gathering wisdom, finally understood this truth one ordinary afternoon. As sunlight streamed through his shop window, illuminating dancing dust motes, he realized he had been waiting for permission that had already been granted. His transformation wasn't awaiting some future date. It was pressing against the present moment, asking only for his recognition. The threshold you perceive is not a boundary to cross, but a sacred space of becoming. It marks the precise moment when preparation meets power, when readiness transforms into reality. This sensation of standing at the edge is the universe's signal that you have already begun your metamorphosis. Like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis, the process of transformation doesn't begin at emergence. It began the moment the caterpillar surrendered to change. Your threshold appeared not to mark the beginning of your journey, but to reveal how far you've already come. The power of this moment lies not in what will be, but in what already is. Your awareness of the threshold is itself evidence of your evolution. The very recognition of this cusp is proof that you have already stepped into your new reality. Ancient practice. Stand tall today. Breathe. Whisper, I am at my threshold, and I choose to step forward. Every threshold in life, whether it is a new role, a shift in mindset, or an unfamiliar path, holds both uncertainty and promise. By consciously choosing to step forward, you claim agency over your journey. You become the one who shapes your direction rather than letting circumstance or inertia decide for you. The act of whispering this affirmation quietly allows the words to echo inside your heart, where transformation always begins. It turns a moment of standing still into an intentional leap, however small. Let this be more than a phrase. Make it a lived practice. Each time you repeat these words, imagine a door opening and your feet crossing into brighter ground. Carry this awareness into your daily actions. Take one step that feels aligned with growth, even if it is small. Over time, you will notice that thresholds are not barriers, but invitations, each one a chance to move closer to the life you are ready to create. Whisper, breathe, and step forward with trust. Chapter 30. The Premonition, Fulfilled. In a modest dwelling at the edge of a timeless town, Stella tended her garden when revelation struck. Each flower, each leaf, each morning bird's song suddenly aligned into a perfect message. The signs she had witnessed throughout her journey, the unexpected meetings, the divine delays, the gentle nudges, were not separate events, but a single tapestry of guidance. The power you seek has always resided within. Like Stella, you may notice how every experience, every challenge, every blessing has woven itself into this precise moment. The threshold you stand upon is not a distant horizon, but the sacred ground beneath your feet. Victor, a humble craftsman, spent years perfecting his art while dreaming of recognition. One morning, as he opened his workshop, he discovered his creations had drawn admirers from distant lands. Yet his greatest realization wasn't in their arrival. It was in recognizing that his mastery had been present all along, quietly growing through dedicated practice and unwavering faith. This truth now beckons you. Fulfillment doesn't await in some far-off future. It blooms in the soil of your present awareness. Each breath you take is pregnant with possibility. Each thought you think shapes the reality emerging around you. The universe has been orchestrating this symphony of alignment, not to prepare you for something later, but to awaken you to what already exists within. Your readiness is not measured by external circumstances, but by internal recognition. Like a flower that contains the full potential of its bloom from the moment it first breaks through soil, you carry within you the complete pattern of your destiny. The threshold you perceive is simply the moment of acknowledging what has always been true. Sacred practice. Choose a moment today to celebrate as though your deepest desire has already manifested. Let your body move with joy. Let your smile radiate with certainty. Let your laughter ring with the knowledge of completion. This is not pretense. It is alignment with truth. For in celebrating now, you acknowledge the power that has always been yours. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. The journey through these chapters reaches beyond mere understanding into the realm of sacred recognition. Each chapter has served not as instruction, but as remembrance, a gentle awakening to the power that has always resided within you. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, has orchestrated every moment, every challenge, and every blessing as preparation for this precise point of awareness. Think back to the first stirrings that drew you to these teachings. Those initial nudges were not random curiosity, but the universe's first whispers of what was to come. You may have thought you were seeking, but in truth, you were being sought. The wisdom contained in these chapters found you because your spirit was ready to receive it. As you've moved through each teaching, you've noticed how the principles already existed in your life, in the synchronicities you'd witnessed, in the doors that closed to protect you, in the allies who appeared at perfect moments. These were not coincidences, but confirmations of your alignment with universal law. The delays you once questioned were not obstacles, but divine timing at work. The challenges that tested your patience were not barriers but bridges to greater strength. Every moment of doubt served to polish your faith until it shone with unwavering clarity. You now stand in a place of profound understanding. The universe has never been withholding its gifts. Rather, it has been carefully, lovingly preparing you to receive them in their fullness. Your premonitions, those subtle feelings, those recurring thoughts, those persistent dreams, were not mere wishes but the first rays of dawn breaking through night. As these teachings settle into your being, recognize that you are not finishing a book, but beginning an awakening. The power you've discovered isn't new. It's your original state, your natural inheritance, your true essence. You've simply removed the veils that obscured your view of it. Moving forward, you'll notice the whispers more clearly, trust the signs more deeply, and flow with divine timing more easily. When synchronicities appear, you'll recognize them as old friends. When challenges arise, you'll welcome them as teachers. When blessings manifest, you'll receive them as natural expressions of your alignment. Remember, every premonition is an invitation to step into greater awareness of what already exists. The universe isn't showing you what might be. It's revealing what already is, waiting for your recognition and reception.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.